House Oversight Committee Chairman, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, great to see you again this morning. Long day, busy day yesterday. The timing of this Tony Bobulinski testifying on Capitol Hill behind closed doors really couldn't have been worse for President Biden just days after the Hur report was released on Thursday. In your opinion, as somebody who's been investigating Joe Biden for the better part of 3 years, did Tony Bobulinski confirm beyond a reasonable doubt a link between Biden and Hunter's business dealings in places like China and Ukraine, and that Joe Biden was, in fact, the big guy and the brand that was being sold?
Yes, he did. He did so well. The Democrats on the Oversight Committee who were present for the transcribed interview couldn't handle the truth. They repeatedly screamed at him, cut him off when they had their time with him. I've never seen such behavior ever in a deposition. But at the end of the day, what Tony Bobulinski proved were many things. Number one, he proved a pattern here. He is now the second person that has confirmed that Joe Biden was the big guy, that Joe Biden was involved, that Joe Biden was the brand. You know, we all asked the question, what were the Bidens doing to receive all the money? Well, they were selling Joe Biden. Tony Bobulinski also confirmed that he met with Joe Biden more than once, and Joe Biden thanked him for what he was doing with his brother and uncle. Joe Biden always knew what his family was doing, and they try to claim plausible deniability here in all of these influence peddling schemes. But what we have proven through these transcribed interviews over the last month and the hopefully in the next two with the two big ones with James Biden and Hunter Biden coming up, a pattern here of behavior where Joe Biden did in fact meet with every single one of these shady characters who were sending his family money. And the last thing I want to mention, Tony Bobulinski explained what CEFC was.
Right.
And this was a Chinese Communist Party-owned entity that was trying to initiate the Belt and Road Initiative in the United States. They were wanting to remove all the barriers of entry so China could start taking over our markets, buying our farmland, buying our energy companies. Joe Biden was working for China. That's what Tony Bobulinski said yesterday.
Yeah, and we know that Bobulinski worked for CEFC Energy with Hunter and the president's brother, James. Bobulinski claimed in his opening remarks that China, quote, successfully sought to compromise Joe Biden and the Obama-Biden White House. Do you think they were successful, and do you have proof?
Well, we know that CEFC got caught in the Southern District of New York bribing leaders in other countries. Their number two person was apprehended and imprisoned for bribing officials in other countries. So CEFC had a business model with their unlimited Chinese cash to go in and bribe susceptible foreign leaders. They zeroed in on Joe Biden through his weak link. His weak link was his son, Hunter Biden. And I think Tony Bobulinski did a great job. We got all of this on record. And as you know, Rob, as we move forward, the objective here with this investigation is to hold people accountable for wrongdoing. Not only the Biden family, but also all those characters in the deep state that were involved in the cover-ups, with the cover-ups in the IRS, the cover-ups in the Department of Justice, the cover-ups in the FBI.
Yeah.
We want to hold these people accountable, and that's what we're doing with all of this evidence that we're accumulating.
Tony Bobulinski saying yesterday that it was a great day for truth and the American people. The next step here seemingly would be public hearings. Congressman, when do we see those?
Well, we have the transcribed interview with Jim Biden in a few days. Then at the end of this month, we have the deposition with Hunter Biden. After that, you're going to see a full committee hearing, and I think it'll be something that everyone watching Newsmax this morning will want to watch live.
And you think that happens before the end of the month here in February?
Well, the end of the month is the Hunter Biden deposition. So it'll be at the beginning of March when we have the full committee hearing.
We've been building toward this for a long time now. Bobulinski, it seems like he's your star witness if this moves forward. Do you still think that impeaching Joe Biden is on the table? And I ask that now because here we are. Now we're 8.5 months from Election Day.
We impeached Mayorkas yesterday. It took a long time.
Yep.
You mentioned at the beginning of your show, we lost a seat in New York, which means in a potential impeachment vote, we could only lose 2 votes. Now, we saw with Mayorkas, we had 3 Republicans vote against it. Regardless of whether we impeach, and I would vote to impeach right now. I've been very public about that.
No, I know you would, but it's those 3 vacancies that you gotta. There's 3 vacancies, and then it's the 3 that voted to not impeach Mayorkas yesterday that you've got to convince. Now, my question is, I wasn't in the room with Tony Bobulinski, but whatever he had to say during this 8 hours of testimony, did it convince you to move forward enough with impeaching Joe Biden? Did this push it over the edge?
Absolutely. He was a very compelling witness. He was there in the room, and seeing how the Democrats were treating him, seeing the panic in their eye. Remember, just last week, they got the report from Robert Hur that essentially said Joe Biden was a mental invalid. Then here yesterday, they had a former Biden associate say that, yes, Joe Biden knew very well. Joe Biden met with all these foreign leaders. Joe Biden knew that they were working for China. And he thanked Tony Bobulinski for helping his son and brother get their foot in the door with China.
And Congressman, I know you're looking to obtain the transcript from Robert Hur's interview with President Biden that allowed him to conclude that he is, quote, an elderly man with poor memory. Do you think you get those documents?
Well, we're doing everything we can. We've sent the first letter requesting it. We'll send the next one. And then the next step after that is a full-blown subpoena. That would come from Jim Jordan and myself. We're serious about these. Not only do we want to learn more about his mental state that is obvious to everyone, we want to know which documents Joe Biden mishandled pertaining to Ukraine and China, because we've, as you know, proven tens of millions of dollars that the Bidens took in from these countries. We believe that one of those classified documents may be on an email that was in Hunter Biden's laptop to Ukraine at a time when Hunter Biden was trying to prove his worth to Burisma. Remember, after Joe Biden left the vice presidency, Burisma cut his salary in half. And Hunter Biden was trying to prove his worth to Burisma, to the owners of Burisma, who we found in the FBI form allegedly bribed Joe Biden. So I think it's very important that we know exactly which documents Joe Biden mishandled pertaining to all the countries where the Biden family received money.
Okay. Congressman, just about 15 seconds, but I just want to get you to respond to this. Your colleague, Jamie Raskin, on the other side of the aisle, said basically that you were full of it and that Tony Bobulinski is upset because Hunter cut him out of a deal where he stood to make a lot of money. How do you respond to that? This goes to Tony Bobulinski's credibility, which is going to be huge if he's your star witness.
Well, you know, Jamie Raskin has been dishonest about everything. They panicked over what Tony Bobulinski said. Tony Bobulinski's the one credible guy in the Biden orbit. I will admit with Jamie Raskin that there are a lot of people involved with the Bidens that weren't credible. That's a reflection on the Bidens, not me. Tony Bobulinski's the one good guy, the one honest guy, the one credible guy, and he did a great job in the transcribed interview yesterday.
All right, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you.